friends, Romans, countrymen, and countrywomen. Lend me your ears, because I have something rather special to show you this morning. Morning where I am, might be afternoon where you are. Something rather special. Now these don't come along very often, so I thought it was worth doing a little bit of a show and tell for you. So when you think of acoustic guitars, generally you think about America, you think about Japan, you think about America sent to Mexico to be built, you think of America sent to China to be built, you think of Japan sent to Taiwan to be built, or Korea to be built. So actually what we have here to show you today is actually Italian. It is an Italian-made Eko guitar. Now, if you're familiar with acoustic guitars and you're a bit of a vintage geek or nerd, Eko guitars is probably a name that you've come across somewhere when you've been looking at guitars, exploring guitars, things like that. Most prominently, the Eko Ranger series, or the Eko P series. So the Eko Ranger series is a dreadnought that was made by Eko back in the late 60s through the 70s. And they were adopted by lots of famous people, the likes of Bob Marley used one. So they are solidly built, they are bolt on neck, they are solid, thick guitars, quite heavy, but, you know, so acoustically, when you play them just open, they have lots of projection, lots of volume, and quite a unique tone because of the way they're constructed. So what a lot of people would do is they would put pickups in them and use them as kind of electroacoustics. So the Ranger and the P series, so the Ranger is a dreadnought series, very, very popular 12 string, and then probably slightly less popular, but still popular 6 string. And they also did the P series, which, as far as I can tell, is a kind of small parlourish type guitar. Then they did this one. So this guitar that I'm going to show you is originally, and there's not much history on this, it's very hard to find any information on it, so it's pretty rare, and pretty rare to find it in good condition as well. So I'm going to show you this guitar, and then we'll talk a little bit about what I know about this guitar so far, and then I'll talk through what I'm going to do to it. All right, so here we are. This is an Eko guitar, and it's the Folk model, and it was produced in the early 70s. So the guy that I bought this one off has had it since the early 70s. I don't think he bought it brand new, but I think he was the second owner. So what makes this different typically to the other kind of, I suppose, more common Ekos is this is what, triple O sort of size. It's a kind of triple O OM sort of size, not a dreadnought. So it's got a pinched waist, which makes it a slightly smaller body, and typically compared to the Ranger, it's got a narrower body as well. So that's one element of it. The other, so they did a run of these called the Ranchero, and the difference is the Ranchero has the white pickguard and it has a sunburst finish. And they, I think, were specifically for the kind of Mexicali kind of market. But these were a run done as a folk model, and they are just not very common to find. They are quite difficult to find. So this is early 70s, and I have to say, generally, it is in great condition. I mean, the headstock there is slightly worn, but that's very, very common. In fact, this is in pretty good condition considering the state of some of them. They're almost, you can't see the logo anymore. Look, there's no real dents on the headstock. Open back tuners. Look at that lovely detail in the neck. And they're coming down, typical of Eko, got a bolt on the neck, making it easier to take off and do work to it. And then look at that, that almost looks like a flame maple sort of style. I'm not sure if it is maple because again, it's hard to find any real information on these. But I'm led to believe it's a maple neck, so I suspect that actually is probably a maple, it's laminate, so it'll be a maple veneer. And then you have this screw-on bridge here. Again, the design is to keep the body flat from bellying and bowing up. So that's it. It's beautiful little guitar. So there are a couple of things. So it's quite rare. There are a couple of things, probably a few things I need to do to this just to get it where I would be happy playing it, selling it on to somebody else, those sorts of things. So let me talk you through those. So first and foremost, look at that action. That's sky high. So it's just way too high, really. I mean, even right up here to play comfortably and that. So I've got to do something about that. And it is pretty much, so there's a tiny little tweak on the neck that I think I need to do because it comes up a bit. But the bulk of the work is here. That bridge is like way too thick. It doesn't need to be that high. Now I know it's for stability, but it just doesn't need to be that high. So my plan is, I'm going to take all the strings off, take the pins out, and I'm going to shave the top of the bridge down, and then shave this side down as well, just to keep the, you see there's a back radius on that, where the pins are. So I'm going to do that, and I think that will make a big difference to the action sort of around this area and playability. So that's one big thing that I'm going to do. I don't need to do it, but I think if someone's going to play this and they're going to play it acoustically, it's the right thing to do. Look at that pickguard. I mean, that pickguard is about, what, 4-5 mil thick? I mean, it's enormous. But that's just the way they were built. And there's a gap underneath it where it's just starting to come away, but there's no movement in it whatsoever. There's no kind of, it's not lifting or anything. So that's as it's going to be. So there is one thing I need to do here, which is I need to repair a little dink, which is in there. So repairing it where the black is pretty straightforward. The finish on this guitar has had some sort of colouring into it. So the challenge will be trying to colour match the dink where the wood is. So I've got to do that. So that's one minor little thing. And if I turn the guitar over carefully, the other thing that I need to do is there is a slight crack. Let me see if I can see that. Slight crack here, which is typical of where somebody puts the guitar down a little bit too hard on the pin there, and it just kind of pops the joint. So I'm going to glue that. So I'm going to glue that into place and clamp it down. And then I'm going to go over this again, colour match the black. So pretty much you won't really notice it. And it's more so than aesthetic. It is there really just to seal it and hold it strong again. But with that crack, what it's done is it's made, I don't know if you can see it, there it is. Just some little hairline cracks in the lacquer here. So not in the body. The body, I have to say, is tough as anything. It's like a rock. So I'm happy that these are not cracks that have gone through to the actual body itself. They're just lacquer cracks. So I'm going to put some thin CA glue in here and just seal these cracks so they don't move any further. And then it's just tiny little bits here where someone just put it down a bit heavy-handed. I'm going to fill those and seal those so you won't notice them. And then just tiny little things like that. Just a couple of little scratches there. I'll get rid of those. You won't notice those. And then that will be it. And it will be going up for sale. I've got to put some new strings on it just to. Oh, what are you doing? I'll put some new strings on it. But I have to say, oh, and also there is a, where is it? There is a bent tuning head. I don't know if you can see that very clearly there. Just slightly bent, so I'm going to take that apart and straighten that as well. Yeah, so there is a rather rare, rather special Eko Folk guitar. Now I searched for hours online trying to find pictures, trying to find anyone else that had one, trying to find images of people playing them, and nothing at all. So it is pretty rare. So there you go, a lovely, rare, pretty good condition for its age and what is typical of these guitars. So yeah, so I'm going to fix it up and then it will go on my music website page, guitar selling and things like that. So if you're interested, drop me a message, drop me a line. If you're on YouTube, this might have already gone long ago. But yeah, chance to own a lovely rare piece of Eko guitar heritage.